All right, people, welcome back to the Kaiba Show. And this week we have a brand new Netflix original series. If you're into that medieval fantasy type world, this one is going to be perfect for you guys. It is called The Cursed. So let's get it.
Welcome to the Kaiba
All right, so Curse is starring Catherine Langford, who is going to be familiar to a lot of you people because she played Hannah in 13 Reasons Why. And we also have Devin Terrell starring in this show. And basically, the premise of this show is we have a young Fae girl named Nimue who becomes the leader of her race, who's getting eradicated by the Pelentons. And she comes she is gifted a sword. I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to give too much away with the premise, but basically she has this sword that's been passed down from king to king. She becomes the new bearer of this sword, and you basically have all these different factions that wants the sword so that they could be the true person, empower the true king. And she's basically trying to save her race of people because, like I mentioned before, they are being eradicated off of the face of the earth. And that's basically the premise of the story without me giving too much away. And overall, people, the show was enjoyable. It was entertaining for the most part. The acting was pretty good. There were some flaws here and there with the acting, but for the most part, I felt like the acting was pretty good. That the fighting sequences, the action also was pretty good. But a takeaway, a negative that I can't say that with the editing and the way they shot certain fight scenes, it was a little choppy. It was a little sloppy. So the cinematography with that kind of messed with me. When you watch the show, you'll see what I'm talking about. Where there was like some choppiness with the editing. Some of the fight sequences just didn't. For example, even with Catherine, some of the fight sequences didn't look believable. I get it. For the most part, certain scenes she was becoming new with being one with the sword, but then there was other fight scenes where she looked at she looked a little bit more better, I could say. But then again, like I said, there's growth with her becoming I guess more seasoned with with the sword throughout the rest of the season. But it still just threw me off with how she just didn't come off like really good with the like this. It's hard to explain, like the swinging of the sword, just it just looked very uh like not fluid. Let's say that it just didn't look fluid. She almost reminded me of how like stiff Keanu looked with the first Matrix. But then when we got the sequels, he looked more like believable. So I'll say that. Towards the end of the show, she looked a little bit more believable, but still just wasn't like, I don't see her like being this warrior person with this sword. And there was some bad CGI with some of the action sequences too. Like there's a scene with a bunch of wolves and a few other mystical characters where it just Netflix need to do a little bit better job. You guys have big productions, big budgets, so some of the CGI was a little choppy too. With that being said, but the action was decent. Sometimes there was good fight sequences that was filmed, but then other times it was just a little choppy. Story wise, I don't want to give too much away with the story, but let's just say there's going to be some characters mentioned that if you're familiar with these characters, you're going to be like, okay, so the story's starting to come full circle. And with that being said, I can't wait for season two because there's some characters that are revealed that I didn't know that that's where this show was going. Because I think this show is based off of a graphic novel by Frank Miller. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I heard that prior into going to watch this show. So there's some characters that are revealed throughout the show where it was like, oh, okay, so that's what this story is about. Okay, got you. Um, Other than that, story was okay. It's not the best, but like I said, it's entertaining. There's some stuff that goes on where, at least for me, because I'm into the medieval fantasy type world, so I love that stuff. You know, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, anything that has to deal with that medieval fantasy world, I dig it. So is it the best show? No, but for me, it was entertaining. So there was some good character developments with certain characters. Others they should have did a better job. But like I said, story wise, it was decent. Action was decent. I think it's worth the watch. So if I'm gonna rate this show on a scale of 1 to 10, on the Kaiba scale on 1 to 10, I'm gonna give this show a 7.5. There was some stuff that they could have did better. But it's the first season. As the show progresses, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a better job. They're probably gonna hear what the fans complain about and try to do a better job. But I think Catherine did a good job for the most part. Some characters could have did a little bit better. Story could have been tweaked a little bit better, and definitely brush up on shooting the action sequences just a little bit, you know, tighter. Just make it a little bit tighter, because this is Netflix, and by now we should be having the best of the best. You guys set the bar pretty high with other stuff, so you got to keep that going. So certain stuff just came off just a little immature, but I dug the show. Like I said, 7.5 in my opinion as of right now off of the first watch. And I think it's worth checking out when you have the time, the free time, in, you know, everybody's busy schedule. So with that being said, if you like what you see and you want to see more, please hit that bell button. After doing that, no, first hit the subscribe button, excuse me, then hit the bell button so you get notified every time I upload a video. And please leave a comment and hit the like button at the bottom, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.